Hello and welcome everybody, Atari Adam here, and I just want to thank you all for watching. Today I would like to welcome you to my first game review. It is going to be about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the Atari 2600, but not the version that everybody is used to seeing. There's been a lot of talk and speculation throughout the years that there was a lost version or even hoaxed version of the original game that was supposed to come out, but it didn't make the final cut. But in fact it did actually happen, and I'm going to show you that version, the alternate version, the original version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the Atari 2600, which is completely different than the version that you all know of. So it's a little bit more scarce, a little bit more rare. But first I just want to talk about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise for a minute. It's been a huge success. It's gained remake after remake. They're even coming out with a 3D Texas Chainsaw Massacre now. But since the original, it's had a cult following. Since then, I mean, they've spawned everything that they can possibly think of off of Leatherface. I mean, I'm talking, as you can see, comic books after another here. Not only comic books, but I mean, we're talking action figures. We're not just talking little action figures. We're talking medium-sized action figures, and we're talking big-ass action figures. They have spawned so much and made so much off of Leatherface. And not only Leatherface, but you're talking about Chop Top Bill Moseley from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. It's just been a lot of fun seeing the progression of the movie since the very original. So today I want to take an opportunity to show you this lost and highly sought version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. As you can see, I actually have a copy of the original, not the one that everybody's used to, but the alternate version of the game, complete in box. I was very fortunate. The man that bought the prototype of the game, he put it out for the collectors. He wanted it in the hands of the collectors, so he did a very limited run of 30 of these. So I'm holding number, I can show you, number 24, hand numbered and initialed by Troy, who was the producer that put this out into the public after so many years. I just want to take it open really quick to show you guys what it's all about. And keep in mind that this game is completely different than the original version. It's not even close. Like the first one, you have like little Leatherface and he goes across the screen and you kill people. This one is actually more of like a layout of like combat for the Atari 2600. You're just a little tiny character. You run around with a chainsaw and kill the other character. But there's a couple catches in this one. The character that you're trying to kill can pick up a gun and start shooting back to kill you. So there's a little bit more to the game. The graphics are not as good as the version that we all know of, but the playability on this one is a lot better. It's more fun to play because it has that added person trying to shoot you, and on top of that, it's also a two-player game, so you can either be Leatherface or you can be the victim trying to kill Leatherface, and you compete with the other player to see who can have the most kills by the end of the level. But there's the box. I just want to show you, and here is the cart. Boom. That's awesome owning this. It's awesome having this in my collection. Troy was nice enough to hook me up with a copy for doing some video work for him to promote the game. So I was very fortunate to come along, Troy, and get the copy of this video game. And here's the manual. And the cool thing about this is he went through Man Cave Arcade, which is a person that you can find on AtariAge.com, and he deals with making custom Atari cases that look like the originals. But the best thing about it is the cases are laminated. So, I mean, they're not going to get mildew, they're not going to get sun exposed and bleached out, they're not going to, you know, start falling apart. These are a lot better made, like I said, laminated. Even the manual, I mean, if you can see the glossiness on it, is also laminated. So, that's an awesome idea on his part. And the cart is just your standard typical Atari 2600 cart. You can find posts on this on AtariAge.com. I'm a member there, and there's a lot of great people, a lot of great fans of Atari. If you're an Atari fan, definitely go sign up an account for AtariAge and see what it's all about. But to get to the to the game itself, I'm going to stop babbling here and show you guys the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Alternate Edition for the Atari 2600. And here is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Alternate Edition for the Atari 2600. Now, as you can see on the top, you're going to see the purple character, that's Leatherface, and on the bottom you have the victim spazzing out right now, just trying to get away from him. As you can see, I just dropped a block right there. The purpose of the game is to run around and drop these supposedly crates. You're in a warehouse and you're dropping these crates to trap the victim and to kill them. So, I mean, it's a lot more challenging than the original version, or not the original, to say this is the original version, but the version that made the final cut. As you can see, he got trapped right here, and I just stabbed him in the balls with my chainsaw, and that's the purpose of the game. You run around, you put these blocks down to trap them in, and on the case itself, it actually says, trap them and hack them. So right there, I just got shot, and that's why I'm blinking. But this is why it's a lot more fun. It's more challenging. It's not based off of a fuel gauge, and you only have so much time to kill so many characters. I mean, you actually have to use strategy, placing the blocks to trap in the other character, the victim, while he's shooting at you. So it makes it a little bit more complex. Now, I know a lot of people debate when they see this that, you know, the graphics suck, they're horrible. I know they're not the best of Atari graphics, but I love the use of the gradients, the color gradients. I mean, in Atari graphics, if you don't know the programming behind it, you're only allowed to use one color per line. So, I mean, that's why a lot of times the characters are just like one color, because you can't use like red and then blue and then red like in one line. I mean, you have to, one line can be blue, one line can be like, if you look at the gradients, you have like at the top you have like a dark brown, then you have a lighter brown and a lighter brown and then a tan and then a yellow, and then, I mean, that's the lines. You can only use one color spectrum per line. So the use of the gradients is really good. It adds a little bit more depth. At the bottom of the screen, you're going to see a brown bar. That's your time gauge, your meter, to see how many kills you can get within that time limit. I believe it runs about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. But yeah, this is what it is. I mean, this is the version that everybody has been searching for. So it's I'm really excited to show you guys this. And the best thing about it is doing a 2-player game. One your buddy can be Leatherface, you could be the victim, or vice versa, and then you just run around and you literally just kill the shit out of each other. I know it's not as graphic as new games, but I mean, it leaves a little bit to the imagination, you know. The only really complaint that I have is the sound. Some of the sounds are horrible. I mean, as you can hear, they're very annoying. And for Atari, I mean, you look at the version that made the final cut, I mean, you got like little beeps to express like when people are screaming, you know, and the chainsaw doesn't actually rev until you're like right next to the person. I mean, this one, the sounds are very chaotic. They could have did a little bit better with the programming of the sounds, but other than that, I mean, it's a top-notch game. I understand why they didn't put this into the final cut of the game, because of the graphics. I mean, who the fuck can tell that that's Leatherface? I mean, honestly. I mean, you just stabbed him in the gut. Yeah, I can understand it once you start playing the game, but a game to this magnitude with Leatherface being who he is and how big the movie was, I mean, people wanted, I'm sure, something that resembled Leatherface when it came to the video game, and so did Wizard when they put the video game out. So I can understand why it didn't make the final cut. And in a way, I'm glad it didn't, because we were introduced to the version that we all have seen, but then it left this in the background for so many years, and we're able to see it now. I wish they could have incorporated the 2 versions. You know, having the graphics, having the I love the platforming idea on the Atari. There's not enough games that are platformers. So that platforming aspect on the Atari 2600, but then actually have the victims try to fight back a little bit. I mean, in the original, or the one that made the final cut, I mean, they just run around and you hack the shit out of them until they're dead, and then they turn into blobs, and that's it. I wish they would have put this kind of aspect where they have a gun or they have a weapon and they fight back, you know what I mean? It's just, you just run around, you kill them aimlessly until you run out of time, and then you get kicked in the ass. This is the version that I think hands down is the best one. Playability wise, graphic wise, I've expressed myself on that. And that, everybody, is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Alternate Edition for the Atari 2600. I just want to hold it up again really quick. And one thing that I forgot to show you at the beginning of the video is on the back of this case, they did a lot of good work to this to make it very collectible. You can see this little switch right here. When you turn that on, it's going to be hard to tell because of the lights on and everything. Oh, you can kind of see right here. There's a little light flickering. What that does is in the front of the case, right here where this little chainsaw blade is, it ends up lighting up. So I don't know if you can tell if I hold this up really close. Nah, you can't really tell. You can on the back of it more than anything. That's because of lighting in here. But it's just a cool little addition. You know, you flick the switch and this lights up, you know. So, and like I said, it's a limited collector's edition, number 24 out of 30. It's an honor having this game in my collection, like I said before. I love the fact that it is challenging. You have to place the blocks in certain ways to trap the victim in. You know, then you run after them with your chainsaw and kill the hell out of them. I like the fact that it's a two-player game as well. You can team up with a buddy and just kill the shit out of each other until you get bored of playing the game. But other than that, I would like to thank you all for watching. I would like to thank you all for the support. Everything here across the bottom of the screen, there's all my links. Don't forget to keep posted. Go to the Facebook page. Stay posted there. I post random stuff all the time on the Atari Adam Facebook page. Other than that, thanks for the support and game on.